So
agree with that.
what we are talking about, that if universe does have a starting, then where does the universe come from?
I think
Oh, I remember, yes.
I couldn't tell you an answer.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you an
we
answer.
can- we-
But I think that, I myself, I'm satisfied with, and maybe, I know it's never good to be satisfied, but I think we don't know, and that's okay.
Oh
And
no, it's not like we don't know. Like if you go to the
and
exam hall,
I would
if,
much rather focus on how the universe we're living in now, as opposed to its origins necessarily. Like, I understand like where you're coming from, like in the sense that like, oh yeah, billions of years
No,
ago,
isn't
we
it
should
the most
focus from
important
that. And, like,
question?
of course, someone, you have to have a really powerful whatever it was to create this. But
isn't it important to know this? What's the core thing behind the universe? For example, like you are living in a life and enjoying all the things, but you don't know the basic of those things. Where does it come from? So if you look at the scientific point of view, whatever you say, Big Bang theory, and later on what Stephen Hawking is saying and other scientists, we can take this. Why they're doing all the research? Because of the curiosity, because of the human nature, that we need to know
You have
what.
to discover
Yep,
and explore,
yes. So what we are saying, we have the options, we have the probability whether this universe come from nothing,
Yeah.
or can the universe come by itself, or there is any other agents which brought this universe to an existence form.
But do you think that there's an agent involved?
What do you think? Like, for example, as a Muslim or as a theist, as a believer, we do believe there is a creator.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's the rationality behind our belief? I can share with you, but I really want to understand, as an atheist, how do you defend your position that there is no creator? Where the universe come from?
I'm not saying that there isn't a creator.
Then you are agnostic, not an
No, I mean,
atheist.
I'm saying that I think that there's definitely power behind that. We just don't know what that power
Okay,
is.
excellent.
And I think that there are scientific ways to explain it. I think that is definitely, and I understand like why people would look towards a creator, like an almighty.
Do you mean when you say power, do you mean the energy behind the universe or something?
I mean it's sort of like particles coming together, contracting and expanding, all that kind of stuff, and exploding. And I'm not a scientist, but
No, if you think, for example, if you think about the power or energy, so energy itself is not a matter or being or something which can exist by itself.
Yeah.
Because what's the definition of energy then?
Energy in what sense?
In physics, what's the
physics.
definition? Yeah.
Like, well, how do you define it?
No, according to the science, ability to do the work, that's the energy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Ability to do something. So energy itself is not a thing which can exist by itself. It has to be possessed by something else. So if you say the power, or if you say the force, or if you say the energy, it has to be possessed by something else. For example, we have the power to lift a dumbbell, but
Yes.
the energy,
It's contained within you.
yes,
Yeah.
the energy has to be possessed by something else. It cannot be by itself. Energy is not a thing. So when you say, okay, there might be an energy, by default we are saying there has an agent behind the energy.
Yeah, I get,
Because
like, there
without
has
an
to be,
agent,
like, what is it, a carrier, like a conduit. I get that, but
yeah. So then we need to talk
I
about
find
this
it hard to
characteristic.
believe that it would be just this incongruous sort of like, material, like build a being that just
Oh, okay.
is. I think I don't know that much about it. However,
No, we don't say there is a
I
material.
think it's within the. I think it's a level of science that not even many of us have the answer to.
Okay,
Like, not even like Nobel Prize
Okay,
winning
no
scientists
problem.
have the answer
No
to.
problem. So
That's why
far,
I can't.
so far we agree.
Sorry. Philosophy. That goes more into philosophy.
Yeah.
Because science is Big Bang, evolution, they start at a specific point. Philosophy goes into the metaphysics.
Yes.
Like you're saying, where does the chain end?
Like, where does it transition into?
Yeah, like for example, you're dependent. You're dependent on something else that's dependent on something else. So
The
either
chain of being, yeah.
chain. So either this is a chain of dependency.
Yeah.
Either it goes on for infinity, or logically or rationally, there is an end to that chain. Which of the two makes the most sense?
That the chain of being, or that.
Yeah, the chain of dependencies. So like you're dependent on something else, you're dependent on something else. There's two options here. Either it goes on forever, or there's an end to that chain.
I think it goes on forever. I mean, I look at nature,
that would mean it's infinity, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as infinite in the real life.
No, but in like a sense that like it sort of branches out. In
No,
a way
sorry.
that,
Do you understand
we're
what?
all, like it's all codependent.
Sorry.
We're all like we all need each other. I understand like by infinite I'm not sure if like that would be the word I would use, but like I use that very loosely. But I think you cannot ignore the interdependency we all have on each other.
Oh no. He's
And
not.
the
He's
resources.
not.
I don't
No.
understand.
What he's talking about the origin and this
when you
chain.
trace back that chain where the
Yes,
came
yes,
from.
yes.
Oh,
So this
okay.
chain. So when for
I'll give you an
example,
example.
do you agree on the origin? Do you both agree there is a origin of the universe, and you call it energy, and we need to look at what the specific
Yeah.
attributes of this energy does have. So if this energy is possessed by something else,
Yes.
then there is something we are
That
not
must have
defining.
started it,
Yes,
and then
exactly. Yeah,
passed it on.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand what
So,
you're saying. Yeah.
and if you look at the energy cannot create, destroy, or transfer
Yeah,
anything.
I can only be conserved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
transfer anything
Yeah.
unless there is a free will behind the energy. If you do have the energy to take the bottle in your hand, you need to have the free will,
To make
yeah,
the choice to take
to
the
make the
energy.
choice.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
if you look at the original energy, this energy cannot transfer something. For example, the universe. This is the universe. It's come here. It was not here, so it came here. So this energy, which is possessed by something else, has to have the free will behind this energy in order to bring this universe to an existence
Who
form.
made the choice to create the energy? Then?
Okay, yeah, that's the point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point. So what?
No. Who do I think made the choice?
Who? Sorry.
Who do I think made the choice?
So I think it's come down to who created the creator.
Yeah, who created the creator
Yeah.
and who made the choice? But
So if I just break this down,
Yeah.
Yeah,
first
sure.
principles, existence is of three types. Yeah, you've got dependent existence, necessary existence, and impossible existence. Yeah, philosophically, it's called even within modal logic. Yeah, you've got dependency. So an example was you're dependent, and the definition of dependency is it can.
how can you just sort of
But just to
how
complete.
can it stop? Like, let's say, sorry, I interrupted. How can it stop at one creator? Was there a creator before the creator? How do we like?
Yes.
But
Where's
here's the
that
thing.
starting line?
Here-
Because I feel like if like you say it's God, then surely there must have been other things before that,
Yeah.
right? Like, how can that?
No problem.
You know,
I got you.
yeah.
Sorry,
I
I
just
got you.
Yeah, he's gonna answer.
So dependency, something that's dependent falls within this criteria, has these qualities. It can cease to exist, it can be any other way, and it's composed of parts.
Yeah.
For example, yourself, you're composed of parts. The parts could have been any other way, you can cease to exist, therefore, philosophically, you're dependent.
Yeah.
The other definition or the other terminology is necessary existence, which is something not composed of parts, can't be any other way, and cannot cease to exist. So if we now, so let's just say, if we now take this and apply it to us and the universe, if it's dependent or independent, we of course will say it's dependent because it depends on the sun, depends on oxygen, depends on this, and like you said, it's interconnected and you have all of these dependencies, but either they go on forever,
Yeah.
which doesn't technically make sense, because if something goes on forever, that's the definition of infinity, which it can't be, because we're seeing in our life more things are being created, movements are happening, time is moving forward.
Can that infinite point be cyclical?
No, because
like
if
let's
it's-
say it goes round, like
If it goes,
yeah,
if it goes round, it's-
and it, because I understand what you're
but
saying.
that's like a mother giving birth to herself. The
Mm.
cause becomes the effect, and the effect
No,
becomes the
but
cause.
I mean, like in the sense that like we all live and die, we all live it like that,
No,
and then we
this-
decompose,
this
So when it
cycle-
that kind
becomes
of stuff.
cyclical,
Yeah,
the cause becomes the effect.
and if you apply that to like,
But-
I don't know enough about Islam. To
But
really talk about it.
if you
But-
discuss about this cycle,
Mhm.
then we cannot get the universe at first place.
But if let's say,
Let me give you an example. For example, I wanna give this water bottle to him.
yeah,
So in the line, you are in the queue, and there are some brothers in the queue.
yeah,
So if there is an infinite number of people in this queue,
yeah.
and I wanna pass it to him, can he get the bottle? If there is an infinite number of people between me and him,
If there's an infinite,
infinite number of people. Do you understand the? Obviously, you understand the
yeah,
infinity.
but how would I don't?
Let me
Could
give you
you
a
apply that to like a the universe
Yeah.
context? Because I'm struggling to
because-
see
The
them.
infinite
Like, let's say
regress of
you have,
dependent things.
I don't want to speak on it because I don't know like enough about it.
Yeah.
But like Muhammad, right? Person.
No, we'll
in the
we'll go
flesh.
to we'll,
Yeah,
we'll go to
how-
Muhammad.
he was-
No problem.
What was he dependent on? What like where did
Things
that
we're
end?
dependent upon.
Like he's
Food.
a human being. He was
We
a
don't
human
believe
being.
he's God.
We don't believe Muhammad, peace be upon him, is God. We don't believe he's some kind of divine in the sense what Christian believe. We believe he's a didn't what? Okay. Oh yeah.
I'm choking on my
No problem.
Sometimes there's a bit of pollen that just comes. It happened
Yeah.
to me last time as well.
But didn't he
You
make,
can take this. No
I
problem.
don't
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it, but what about the Al-Miraj? Like the journey to
Yeah.
That's not something a human would do, right? Like make a journey
that
to
we
heaven.
know of,
Yeah.
because science
But-
is based upon induction,
But
right?
would that make him an exception?
Yeah, that's what miracles are. They are exceptions based upon the rules
We
that
do
we
believe
have.
in miracles. Yeah.
Isn't it?
But he's still human. But how
But-
can
but
he,
we'll-
But the
I think-
experience is non-human.
Yeah, I think,
how can he
I think, I think we'll go to the miracles and others. Let's talk about the fundamental things, which is existence of God.
Yeah.
So, do you so far agree this energy or the power
Yeah.
does have some agents behind the energy? Do you so far agree on this?
Well, can't it just be energy?
No, because energy cannot.
Bruce-
Yeah,
Energy
energy
is
cannot. And energy cannot
But
exist by itself.
Wouldn't the carrier itself just be the universe?
Oh no, because
like I mean, I understand that that's like a boundless thing, but like,
do you know why?
why does it have to be like a strictly physical, strictly line like?
Okay, so if you say that energy is universe, then if you look at the third law of thermodynamics, what it's saying, this universal entropy is getting higher and higher every single day, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the
Universal atrophy?
entropy, yeah, universal entropy cannot be negative, and it will be higher in the time span, right? So if you look at the universal entropy, maybe it's 25 degree now,
Yeah.
25 degree in today's world, maybe 100 years later it will be 30 degree. So what we are saying, if the universal entropy is increasing,
Yeah.
and in first law and second law, if it cannot be decreased less than zero, meaning it cannot be negative, then we cannot get the eternal universe.
So the universe, because it
Universal entropy, yeah, yeah,
because it
universe, yeah.
decays.
We do have the universe, yes, chaos.
So yeah, because therefore it cannot carry energy.
No, that's not
I
right.
don't.
So you understand the universal entropy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So according to the according to
Let me take it
Yeah,
another
yeah,
way.
I'm not very science.
That's absolutely
Yeah, no
fine.
problem.
Let me just pose a rational point to you. When you see the design and everything that you see around you, and how the universe came to be, there seems to be only three options. If there are more, feel free to let me know. Either, like the brother said, it came by chance,
Yeah.
it came by nothing, or it created itself, or something created it. Which of those options do you think makes the most sense? Chance, nothing creating itself, or something creating it?
I mean, from my very limited scientific knowledge,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't want to say it with confidence because I don't know,
Yeah, no
and I don't
problem.
think any of us know. But I would say I wouldn't be, completely unconvinced with it coming from nothing. I don't like.
Okay,
I wish I knew more about it, but I think delving. I guess like my.
before we jump to
Creator.
that, before we
How
jump
does-
to that though,
How does it like translate into this life, into
before
this
we get to
universe
that, the
that we're
point that
living in now?
the point that the selection that you've made, the nothing semantically means no thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I have
like
got my hand,
nihilo.
yeah, ex nihilo, yeah, there's nothing there, no thing, the absence of something.
Yeah.
So how can the absence of something create a thing? We have no experience, no understanding, no evidence for this even being possible.
Yeah, but there's not. I mean,
And
that's
does
the
that
same
make
with
sense
all of
to
the
you, though?
That's the same with, you can throw theories at it. You can.
No,
think
but does
up
that
of
make sense
every-
to you though? How nothing can create something on the level.
On the. I wouldn't. I think,
You can answer it however you want, just honestly.
yeah, I mean,
I'm not here to get
I think
you or
that
something.
I would need a greater understanding of physics to really, but I wouldn't.
But do you understand nothing?
If it were to, because, right, like, from what I understand, right, I think by nothing, what I mean is like that.
Something.
That
That's what Lawrence Krauss says. Nothing, he believes is something,
I mean,
which is not really nothing.
When you say nothing, we mean absence of
absolutely,
everything.
Absolutely, I think that
Absence of probability, absence of everything. Yes.
Yeah.
So can these nothing? Anyway, one question: does nothing have any particles or property?
I think a particle, like particles, yes.
Then
Like-
it's
like-
not nothing.
But I think this is using a very strict definition of nothing.
It's not. How do
Because
we use nothing in our
it's the
daily
matter. I
life?
think it's the matter that we're talking about that will create a universe and come together and then explode and that kind of stuff. I think, and what such something that created the universe, it's not really within our, like, as scientists have tried, it's not really within our current, like, even like language to really explain.
Let me just burst your bubble slightly.
Yeah.
When it comes to science, science doesn't claim to answer these questions. Yeah. In fact, questions of morality, questions of why things exist, law of non-contradiction. In fact, even the external world around us can't be proved scientifically. That's why I said we go into a realm called philosophy and rationality, testimony, and inference as well.
I think that nothing seems.
I think she's drunk.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I think nothing is like. it's like a sort of a balance of like, oh yeah, it could be a divine creator, or it could be nothing, and it's like. I just don't understand why any thing would be more convincing than the
I
other.
think you know the answer to this. When it comes to our understanding of nothing, it means the absence of something.
Yeah, but
It's not that complicated. I know they
I
make
just-
it
I think-
complicated.
by nothing, I mean I'm thinking of like particles coming together.
I know.
Exactly,
So, like,
yeah.
definitely something, but not
Like
like
a quantum vacuum.
But not like the thing in which I think by thing that I mean is something that is like that defies like what we currently have to explain it now.
What-
Does that make sense?
what name
like
should I
our
call
current
you?
definition of thing.
What name should I call you?
Cordelia.
Cordelia.
Yes.
It's a very unique name.
And
Okay.
Nazmul and
Jishan.
Jishan. Yeah.
yes.
Zishan and
Nazmul.
Nazmul. Big up Nazmul. And
I
Cordelia.
think because like right now you look at a thing like a tree and that kind of stuff that didn't exist.
Cordelia.
That's my definition of thing. Yeah.
I want to speak first principles, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not here as a got you or making things complicated for you. You can go and have a conversation with somebody else and you can believe in something totally different. I'm just saying for the sake of this conversation, let's just keep things simple. You don't have to be a quantum mechanist to understand the world.
I think
When for example, you're talking about nothing, it's
simplify-
nothing. When you're talking about something, it's something. That's how logic works. Like, if I am crossing the road, then I will end up on the other side. It follows. If I'm crossing the road and I end up in Japan because there's a quantum fluctuation and I can end up there, but that's not the inference to the best
I would
explanation.
argue that a lot of the theories for the creation of the universe are quite illogical. They don't really follow our general conventions of
More
logic.
illogical than nothing. Like there
Yeah,
was
but
nothing,
the
then
thing,
there's something.
The definition of thing, I feel like.
Okay, if you say nothing does have some particle or something, so define those
It's
attributes. Define the attributes of
Because,
nothing.
like the theory we have right now, at least from my very limited understanding
Yeah.
of it, is the singularity exploding. Da, 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 da.
No, no.
And I'm thinking of like the little infinite. I can never say this word, but infinite seminal. Very very small particles, very very small. So much so, can we even call them a thing? Coming together and then exploding. That's what I mean. That's what I believe.
No, it's from the universe. We are talking about the where does the universe come from. You are talking a position where universe already exists, and from this existence you are getting the expansion of nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. We are not talking about the nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. We are talking about the before the universe. What's the origin of the universe? I do understand what you are talking about, which is
Before those
expanding.
particles,
Yes,
what was there
before
before?
those
So what
particles.
do you guys think?
Okay, excellent. So what we are asking, can this universe come from nothing? And in that regard, you said yes. Then we are saying again, can this universe come from nothing? Do you understand which nothingness we mean? We mean the before the universe, not after the universe.
Just black, just nothing. Like
That's
not
nothing.
nothing. Nothing. I feel like isn't the. It's a,
Can nothing create something?
I don't. It's not. I feel like using like words like nothing, where it's very sort of like.
Okay, let me make it easier. The scientific nothing and the normative nothing. You can distinguish it like that.
Yeah. I mean,
You believe in the scientific nothing,
I,
which is
I
something.
just I want to know what you guys think before.
I'll tell you what we think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what
That way I can sort of understand where you're coming
No
from.
problem. Quite simply, the definition of the creator in Islam is the one, the independent, he does not beget, nor is he begotten,
Yeah.
and there's none like him. Yeah? In other words, it is the singular,
Yeah.
it doesn't have children, doesn't make children, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Now, if you tackle this philosophically, it's the infinite regress. Like I said, there has to be an end to that chain, which is the necessary existence. We believe that the end of that chain is a necessary existence that has will, power, which has, well, intelligence,
Yeah.
wisdom, has all of these properties, and we term that as God.
Yeah.
Further from that, Cordelia.
Yes.
So Cordelia, what we say is that then it's a scaffolding argument. That we say, okay, philosophically it makes sense. Rationally, like I said to you, chance doesn't create stuff. Chance merely explains natural phenomena. It doesn't.
Because it's relied on something to make.
Yeah, for example, a ball is moving on the snooker table. The law of motion is not the one creating the ball or making the ball move. It's telling us the trajectory of it and the law of motion. The chance doesn't create something. To say chance creates something falls in a logical fallacy called the fallacy of reification, where you're giving something abstract concrete properties. For example, like you're saying, the rolling of the dice has created the universe, which we know doesn't make sense. So it's our way, just like Stephen Hawking said, gravity created everything, but gravity is a force. Gravity itself
Has to
doesn't.
start from something. And it's really
Yeah,
not
and
obvious.
it's
Yes.
it's descriptive, not creative. So that's the issue when it comes to chance. Issue with nothing. That's why I was saying that. Look, hand on your heart. You can either read the book about the 500 pages telling you what nothing is, which the conclusion is it's something, but the issue still remains. Where did that thing come from? And you still falling within this notion, and that's why that science ends there, philosophy begins there, and that's why you say, are we really living in infinite? Because if we are, then let's just say I was to throw a bottle. That was the example that he was giving. If I have to ask someone's permission, he has to ask someone's permission, and it goes on for infinity, I won't get to throw the bottle because somebody has to end the chain for me to be able to do it. So for us to exist means that there is logically an end to that chain. The other question, Cordelia, is this individual, this being that's created us has intelligence, has wisdom, has a will. Yeah. Now, would he or it just leave us wandering in the universe? Logically and rationally, it doesn't befit that of a wise being to do that. Yeah? It's more befitting of a wise person, even a person that's sitting in front of a canvas. You put brush to the canvas, it means there's an intentionality, there is a will, like the brother was saying. Yeah? That there is an intention behind it. Now the question would be, which book? Which book makes the most sense, Cordelia? And here we can start looking at scientific things. For example, do you have manuscripts dating to the time of preservation? The Quran is the only one out of the major religions that claims to have manuscripts dating to the time of the Prophet. The language of revelation, is that a live language? Well, we say it is. Arabic is the top 5 most spoken languages on the planet. Jesus spoke Aramaic. That's an endangered language. Christians don't have access to that language. The New Testament is in Greek, Koine. They don't have access to it.
You've got Oxford word of the.
You see. So in terms of preservation,
I understand like the whole the fallacy you were talking about is sort of applying this abstract, these concrete properties, of which we've developed within our own world to this. However, I think I hesitate a little bit when it comes to that coming from because like you said, this omniscient creator, etc., who taught him that? Who taught that to be? Who taught him to choose? Who taught him to be wise? I think we're just falling, like you said, this infinite chain of who started where. And you can just sort of set up a marker at that point. But
there's an assumption there. The assumption is that this creator must follow the laws of the created beings. We believe he's uncreated, so he doesn't fall within the criteria that you're applying to created beings.
Why can't then the universe coming from nothing, that doesn't, let's say that didn't follow the same criteria, why can it only not follow the same criteria?
Because the universe is dependent. God is independent, like the necessary existence. That's why philosophically the two have different criteria.
But
philosophically,
but
can
God be explained rationally?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
No, but how can you decipher?
I think
isn't it omniscient, omnipotent?
I think Cordelia, you can make some connection with when you first said there is a power or energy behind this universe. So if you look at the power or energy, as we discussed, this power doesn't have the ability to do something by itself. So it has to be possessed. So if this power is possessed or this energy is possessed, then there has to have the free will in order to use this energy. Yeah? Do you agree so far?
Yes.
Okay. So what we agreed, there is a power.
So it's a conscious being.
Yeah. Okay, so far we agreed then. There is a conscious being. Okay. So what we are saying, this.
So what you're saying is this energy had to be contained in some conscious being, yes?
Not in some conscious being. By definition of energy,
energy,
it has to have a carrier, or it has to be possessed by something else.
Yes.
Outside of just being energy, right? So then, in order to use this energy, there has to have something or someone or some being or some originator which can use this energy by his, her, or it free will, right?
Yeah.
So we are getting energy, then we are getting it possessed by something else, then we are getting this something else has the free will. Saying in order to create.
So energy is inextricable with free will. Is that what you're saying?
Not energy is free will. Energy is used by something else, some agent, which does have free will.
Yeah, but wouldn't that mean that they're intertwined? How can you separate that?
Oh, because
surely a ball doesn't have.
You do have the free will. For example, you do have the free will and you do have the energy. Your energy is not your free will. That's a complete distinct thing.
I just think, free will it relies on a really anthropocentric sort of these sentient beings, I don't think as it should be something more, if you're talking about this, shouldn't it be something more universal, something applicable to the plants and and the ground that we walk on, stuff like that. I'm as the God that Allah, is that?
Yeah, Allah, we say Allah. Yeah.
Allah, as. Isn't it wait, how do you say it correctly? I want to make sure that I
Allah.
How do you, how can we explain, these humans sort of, because Allah created, the plants and the trees, stuff that isn't really explainable by free will?
Not necessarily, because when it comes to will, we have a very simple litmus test. The fact is, and this again goes into philosophy, which means that if there was no creation, and then at one time creation started, that means there is a will, there is a choice that creation began.
Yes.
So that indicates will. And then if dependent things emerge, and those dependent things could be any other way, that means again a choice and agency is picking and organizing those things into their component parts. For example, the objective design that you see, whether it's, you know, symmetry and butterflies, symmetry even on your face, like it actually falls within the golden ratio. I don't know if you knew that as well. on our faces, because from
the Fibonacci sequence,
the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, like for example, the middle of the eyebrows to the middle of the lips, and then you take that and then you divide it by the middle of the lips to the chin. That's the golden ratio, 1.618.
Yeah.
Which because some people they say design, it could be interpretation of design. My argument is there are certain designs that you can objectively measure. For example, the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, symmetry of butterflies of a person's face as well. They're symmetrical. So something coming from chaos, from nothing, from chance, creating itself doesn't make sense, because if you believe that particles are unconscious, unguided, mindless, materialistic things, how is it that they're creating things that are designed, that have purpose, that have, designed?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from 100%. I think I don't think that we immediately had this sort of, I guess like what you're describing is where like immediately we had this like there was this intentional design with everything, but that design was immediate and it didn't develop over time. And what I'm saying with that mindless, matterless sort of thing is that it developed over this time. It wasn't like I understand that like an intentional, how one could see, that we were created with intent and everything.
Well, we have no issue with that, the development of things.
So if we do have the material which has developed, then how do you get the consciousness? Because the material thing cannot bring about the consciousness.
The material thing cannot bring about.
Yeah, because the consciousness is not a material thing that you can bring it from anywhere.
Is the development random?
I think we're ignoring.
How can over time a rock become a human? That's what it comes down to. Simplistically, you have dead matter, and suddenly you have live matter.
No, those developments.
You need some rules. I mean, you need some rules. Otherwise, no meaningful development or meaningful outcome will come.
Like in
You
order
need
to
some
create
guiding
something.
rules, guiding principles. You need some guiding principles or rule for any development.
You're saying if something's just happening by itself, randomly, unconscious, unguided.
So if every step is random, then you have no stable creation. I mean, it will randomly go into inexistence. You know.
I mean, I think like the intelligent, but there are also like, but God designed a world where
Without intelligence.
I'm sure that this is an argument that you guys have heard a lot. But a world with war and a world where we hate each other, and surely a creator like that.
It doesn't disprove God.
Yeah,
That doesn't
that's
disprove.
different.
How about
How could God create that?
Okay, how you are living
Yeah,
peace?
but like surely, we may be intelligently
No,
designed. And
brother,
we
there's a
may
camera.
follow the Fibonacci ratio.
There's a camera.
I could have 3 eyes. I could have 4 eyes and not follow the Fibonacci ratio. But I much rather live in a world which is good.
No, for example, if you
You
think
will live in a world that's good, but that's paradise. This world is a test, and the bad things, I'm sure you agree with this,
No, but why
we
would God
appreciate.
test us?
But we appreciate things via the contrast. We appreciate night because of day, tall because of short, happy because of sad.
Yeah, but
We just come from,
it's
we
this
just want to be famous.
but
Do you understand that? We appreciate tall because of short, happy because of sad.
Why does the dichotomy need to exist?
The dichotomy
Why
needs
is
to
that?
exist for
I just-
people
I
that
just-
have been
how
given
could-
free
how
will.
How could genocide happen? How could he create these intentions? And these human
genocide
beings?
happened by whom? Genocide
Wait,
was done by
even
whom?
simpler than that. We undercut that. Free will.
Like I think.
Cordelia,
yes,
free will.
No, but
the consequence
I
of free
think
will.
free will, like you
Do-
sure you can
Do you
explain
feel
it
any
as well.
difficult in
I think it's
exam?
kind
I
of-
mean, in tests?
He still, Allah still created us, and He created these beings who would make those choices. Why create us with the capacity for that?
So that then
We don't have a capacity to bad. Actually, we have a
Why
capacity
choose?
to good.
Why even make choice a bad, like a bad choice, whatever that is?
So if you-
a choice to kill.
How
a
would that
choice
make
to,
him more merciful if he takes away agency from us, and then we're just robots that are just commanded to do
But
something?
I don't think necessarily.
You see, mercy is giving us a choice, letting
So
us
are-
develop, letting us learn, letting us love and
No,
understand.
but I don't think that could explain.
Karzilia, do you think
important- it's
do you think
important
do you
that
think
we-
this killing and massacre, all of those things, disprove
Yeah,
God?
but like I can choose to, drink a bottle of water. I can choose to drink Diet Coke instead of Coke. But like,
Is
and
it
the
a good-
choices
is
that
it good
really
or bad?
matter, that's what I mean.
Is it
Like
good or
what?
bad?
Like, I don't know. I could go on and on, about do I choose to join? I don't know. Do I choose to send drone strikes? Do I choose that kind of thing? Why? The vast majority of decisions are very banal. They don't really matter, and that's I guess why. How can God sort of create us with that capacity? When in reality it shouldn't really. It's not like entirely impacting the whole of our.
Okay, what will happen if God doesn't give the capacity?
If God didn't give,
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying do away with the capacity, but I'm saying do away with the capacity to hurt one another and to do that. Why is that necessary in this world?
It's because the way that God has created us, this world, the nature of this world is a test. It's an examination.
But why should we be tested when you
That's
put
because-
so much faith when
You have been given free will. So
The question of why is up to the creator. It doesn't negate the creator, the fact that he's created us for a test, and that's up to him. However, the nature and how we exercise that test, that's something that's up for debate. Why? That's up to the creator. I mean, we can
Do you think-
second guess that, but that
should
doesn't.
the creator have that choice though? Why does he determine that?
Why he shouldn't?
He's the ultimate authority.
I always thought of free will as somewhat, forgive me, but it's sort of absolving him of any responsibility for the world that he has created. And
Then
It's
what
not.
did you expect? Would you like?
but then who has responsibility?
What kind of a world you expect from a creator? Without free will, without anything, without good, without bad.
Without free will.
So what
Are you
kind of
saying that free will?
A world without evil.
A world without evil, yes.
That's what you're saying.
Well, not.
so how do you define good
Isn't
then?
that evil itself? A world without evil is evil.
Why is
Because
that?
even if a person lives forever, you think that's evil. In a world in which, there's a lot of things happening. People that live forever long to die. Dying is actually a mercy.
People that live forever. I mean,
I'm sure you've seen these movies in which they
I mean,
experiment with this stuff.
wait. So what you're saying is that
But death is a mercy.
death is a mercy,
Pain is a mercy.
pain is a mercy,
When
evil
we go
is
to
a
the gym,
mercy.
that can be considered a mercy. It can be considered a test. There's a reason for it. I'll give you an example. Going to the gym. Somebody says, no, pain is bad, pain is bad. If I don't undergo any pain in the gym, I'm going to stay a stick for the rest of my life.
Not every force of pain and suffering.
Say it.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
No, it's not necessarily. I think what I'm talking about is the higher levels of it. It's not
Unpack
it's
that.
not really falling into do I go to the gym or not? Or is that
Drone
really
strikes. Should we
necessary?
stick with drone strikes
Yeah,
then?
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's why I'm not saying that's easily definable and
I got
the
you.
lines can be drawn as in that is a decision because obviously a choice leads to another choice and we should have that ability. And I understand why
Okay.
we would be like puppets. And I'm
Let
not arguing
me give you an
against free
example.
will.
I got you. With drone strikes, people believe when you do drone strikes, you're actually protecting people from dying in war. So they believe that that's a mercy. It's a consequence of free will. It's a consequence of a person using their intellect. We're protecting people. However, Daniel Hale said in Afghanistan, majority of the people that are dying are actually innocent people. So then that would not be a good choice that was made. So on the one hand, the choice is to protect
What?
soldiers from dying. On the other hand, you have to protect the Afghans from dying indiscriminately. Do you see? And if America misuses its use of drone strikes, it increases extremism, and then now you have an issue going on. So there's a cause and effect, and there's a consequence of free will.
Yeah, but why couldn't God create a world where we would love and understand that there were innocent people that we were killing?
That's called paradise.
Why couldn't that be a choice? No,
Yeah,
but it cannot just be paradise. Why can't it be here now?
Do you think that
You
God
can
should,
make it
God
here
should
now.
place every person
an
the
inferior
ideal world?
version of it?
But you can do it now with the choices that you make. You can make the good, positive choices. You see a poor person, you can choose to give him or not give him. You see somebody crying, you can choose to comfort them, not comfort them. In fact, you are more predisposed to assisting financially, in terms of your emotions, and helping your fellow man, your fellow woman. You see? So although we feel that it's a choice, but that choice is not negatively skewed. It's not skewed towards evil. It's actually skewed towards good, helping, mercy, love, compassion.
Kadili, I think here is the point that when you see people are doing murder and all of those things, they are going against what God said. God instruct them in a way that is holy, that is pure. And if you live your life with what God said and with God's instruction, you don't find all the problems. You don't find bombing to the Afghanistan. You don't find bombing to the Iraq. You don't find bombing to Syria and Libya if you follow the God's word. Because the people who are saying there is no God, so they don't have any morality. They don't have any moral, boundary. They can do whatever they want because they don't have any consequence. So God gave the consequence. God gave us free will. At the same time, there is a consequence. If you do the bad things, you will face the consequence. If you do the good deeds, if you face the consequence. So when you don't have the God's instruction, that's where you get the freeness. That's where you get the freedom of doing anything, freedom to do every single thing. So what God restricts the free will by saying, yes, these are the good way and these are the bad way. If you accept the God's word, you are not bombing the people. If you accept God's word, then you are not stealing. If you accept what God is saying, then you are not murdering someone. So that's the God's word. And when people don't follow the word, what God is saying, don't follow the instruction, what God is giving, then they are creating the problem. So problem is not why.
Human-made is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Because they are not desire. They are following their own, the evil mentality. They are having the problem. God is not the problem.
Abdul Karim.
The creation is not the problem. The problem is when people denying the instruction of God. The problem when people are not accepting what God is saying to do. That's the problem. And if you look at all the evil what people are doing, they are not saying God is saying this. They are saying, okay, I want to establish democracy here in Afghanistan by killing millions of people. So democracy is not the God's word. Democracy is not the God's instruction. People is imposing democracy. People is imposing capitalism. People is imposing socialism and other construction to deny the God's word. And that's not what God is saying. God is saying opposite. Not to kill, not to steal, not murder, no evil, no stealing, not any evil things. And when the capitalism, when democracy, when all other ideology going against the God's word and instruction, that's the chaos. That's the reason of chaos. Look at the world.
Why though would God leave us with? I feel like
Sister,
a lot of things have been done in God's name, which objectively haven't been good. And I feel like why would God leave us with that room for misinterpretation? I mean, I use misinterpretation.
sister, I was saying that
Why?
God.
Why?
Like this perfect book, the Quran.
Yeah.
Given to, oh God, I don't know, but
Prophet Muhammad?
given to him by Jibril. Or
Okay, yeah, Jibril.
But why within those words would there, be the language to justify? I hate using this as an example, but like jihadist attacks and stuff like that. Like I just
justify
a
of
lot
what?
of stuff is done in God's name, which isn't necessarily, this like pure thing. And I feel like following God isn't necessarily the answer to being good and being And I hate I hate using that example, but yeah.
Okay, so do you believe democracy is good? Democracy is a good thing. Do you believe that? Democracy, is it good or bad?
Yeah.
When America went to Afghanistan to restore the democracy and killing millions of people, is it good or bad?
Bad, obviously.
Why? Why bad?
Yeah, is that like people, and they were Christian. They like a lot of like the like if you look at George Bush, he was very devout. Same with Dick Cheney, the people who committed those atrocities in Iraq. They justified that through God's name.
But
I'm just saying, how can
no,
you?
no. But you,
allow
People
that?
will try to justify their actions,
but you
whatever
said,
means they have. I
but
mean,
you said democracy is good. Democracy is good. So
Yeah,
by
but-
saying democracy is good, I understand what you were saying.
That would involve in like trusting their George Bush's version of democracy, which
Exactly. So what
Yeah,
you are
but
saying,
I'm saying that like that it wasn't democracy that they were fighting for.
I agree.
It was to
Evil thoughts.
dethrone Saddam Hussein with his non-existent
Yeah.
weapons of mass destruction. That is not.
I agree.
applicable.
I agree with you. What I'm saying, if someone quotes from a verse from the Quran and killing people by the name of this verse, it doesn't justify from the Quran, and Quran doesn't justify his killing. The same way George W. Bush is going to kill the Iraqi, going to kill the Afghani. So he's saying in the name of democracy,
Yeah,
but he has the
democracy
own
wasn't created
evil.
by